So in our ongoing discussion about the Financial Security 2030 paper as part of the Financial Security Forum, we've been inviting those who were part of our panel sessions today to come back and drill down a little deeper into some topics. And a speaker that we had probably the biggest response to was Tara Ballman, who is the executive director of the National Aging in Place Council and also works for Longbridge Financial. And her perspective on the caregiving side, aging in place, long-term care caregiving side, was really got a strong response from everybody in the audience. And it's interesting because, this is an insurance audience selling insurance products to help protect people from things like the eventual impact of long-term care, but oftentimes can lose touch with the reality of care delivery. And here we have somebody with us who is steeped in that reality, particularly aging in place, which is the big goal that everybody has. Everybody given their choice would take staying at home to be able to age in place. But it isn't as easy as just wishing you could do it. There's a lot that goes into preparation. And so along the lines of the aging population, Tara, and where we're going now to 2030, what do you think are some of the hurdles Americans are facing now and going forward when it comes to being able to achieve the goal of aging in place and being prepared for it financially or otherwise?
Yeah, great question. Thank you, Chris.
A lot there.
So, yeah, there was a lot there. That was a
Yeah.
mouthful. But I think one of the biggest hurdles that we face is that people just aren't talking about it. I think in your white paper, you mentioned that 70% of older adults are going to need some form of care. But I think nobody's actually thinking they're in that 70%.
Right.
So they're going through life, not going to happen to me, not going to happen to me. And then bam, something happens, a diagnosis, an accident, they take a fall.
Yes.
Or, something happens that they're unprepared and then they don't know what the resources are. They don't know where to look for help. And they're kind of at the mercy of whoever tends to be their friend at that time.
Right.
So I think just getting people talking about things. And one of the reasons they may not be talking is because they don't have a solution. It's easy to avoid things and not talk about something when you don't know what you're talking about, when
Yeah.
you don't have an accurate solution.
Right.
And the solutions that they do believe are out there, they're either misinformed or they believe that Medicare pays for everything,
Right.
or even their long-term care insurance that they bought 20 years ago. Oh, I'm fine. I have this insurance, not realizing that times have changed.
Right. And there's not a lot of people in perspective that even have those policies to begin with.
Correct.
Yeah.
Or they waited too late, and
Yeah.
now what are their options?
Right. Right.
So I think just helping educate people on the options that are out there
Right.
and what is actually covered. And then how do you cover the difference? How do you fund what's not covered by your medical insurance or your long-term care or whatever other policy you have?
And so for those people, if they were fortunate enough to plan, right? Maybe you do have long-term care insurance. Great. Maybe you have enough in equity or in savings and investments that you could end up self-insuring, but we know it's a very expensive proposition. I mean, what would you say is the national average cost for a month of home care?
It depends. It
Right
depends
where
on
you
what
are,
kind of
right?
home care. Yeah. I mean, some people can get it for $30 an hour. Places in California or New York City, it's coming up to $60 and $75 an hour. And those aren't
Which could
expensive.
translate into $10,000
Oh
a
my
month.
gosh, a month or more.
Right.
Like that would be cheap to me, $10,000
Really?
a
$10,000 a
month.
month?
I
Wow.
think so.
Imagine that.
If it's 24/7 care, it could go out of the roof. And those aren't expenses that people have put into their planning. And that's why we really encourage people at the National Aging in Place Council to be proactive, because when you're proactive, you have a vast amount of resources
Yes.
that you can choose. They might not all be right for you, but you should educate yourself on what the options are
Right.
versus when you're in a reactionary position and your options are very, very limited and you're in a crisis mode. And what do I do now? And just taking the best thing now to keep somebody safe.
And I know we spend time educating people. We've done a lot of work together over the years, educating people about some of those options, say like a reverse mortgage, something that you know a lot about,
Yes.
or the use of a life settlement, something we've worked with for years and years, veterans benefits, the use of annuities. There's a variety of solutions to help people pay for care that oftentimes they don't realize is in their grasp, except for the fact they just don't know it.
Right.
So that's a big part of the equation. And so as we're going forward, what do you think are some of the exciting opportunities evolving with the industry and to keep up with the tastes of the aging population? Like Gen Xers definitely have a certain way they want to live their lives. They don't think they're ever going to get old.
Yeah.
I've always said Gen Xers were the first generation to be 30 by the age of 13, and they're still 30 by the age of 60. They don't plan to get old. And they have a very specific way they want to live their retirements and into their long-term care. So how do you see the industry evolving to meet those changing needs? It isn't my great-grandfather's sitting in a nursing home anymore if you can avoid it.
Right. And the Gen Xers is going to be an interesting mix when we are at a certain point, because a lot of us don't have children that are going to take care of us when we age.
Right.
So there's a whole nother problems that we have to tackle. But I like to say, there's a lot of doom and gloom about the tsunami that's coming, the silver tsunami, but there's
Right.
so many exciting things that are happening right now, like the age tech movement. I love everything that's happening in age tech right now. Your home taking care of you, the light fixtures telling you your pulse rate, your oxygen levels. They're noticing when somebody's gait is off and they start shuffling, when it's time to put the grab bars in the bathroom. And grab bars today aren't like medical style grab bars. They are beautiful grab bars that belong in Architectural Digest.
Wow.
So are the lights that are reading people's sensors.
Right.
It's amazing. And I always talk about the toilet seats, which everyone laughs at me, but these toilet seats can tell based on the way you sit and stand up, the second you become a fall risk, the second your balance is off, because it's been learning your patterns using all the AI over time. So things like that excite me. And then I mentioned in our session earlier, just people taking old products and using them in new ways, or using them in ways you haven't thought about. Like, since you brought up the reverse mortgage product, the Longbridge Financial has a whole aging in place division where we're teaching people new ways on how to use old products, like creating a line of credit with the reverse mortgage. And on Marcus, I have a chart from the last 20 years.
Yeah.
If you took out a line of credit in a reverse mortgage during up markets, you pulled from your investment, your retirement investment, like you were expecting. On down markets, you left your retirement savings alone and pulled from a reverse mortgage line of credit. At the end of the 20 years, that estate had $968,000 more value to it because it was using existing products in a creative way.
Yep.
So those are the things I like.
Yeah. And here at Medicarians, there's been you've your first time being here.
It is.
You saw some interesting age tech presence here, right? So you can see that this group is paying attention.
Yes.
And I have a feeling that you're one of the earlier people to show up from the care side, but I think there'll be more and more attention being paid. And I think you made a big splash here at the meeting. You left a big impression for everybody. That's for sure. You were actually voted the winner of our breakout session, which was pretty cool.
I'll take it. I'll take that.
I loved it. She was getting rounds of applause. It was great. So Tara, thank you so much. It's so fun to come back around and sort of wrap up our show and your involvement with everything we've done. And I'm sure you're going to be back and we'll be doing more of this going forward.
Sounds fun.
All right.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Chris.
All right. Thank you, Tara.